You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Perhaps someday we'll join us. Imagine is so creepy. It is a super creepy song. Everyone's like, oh, it's so peaceful. No, creepy as fuck.
That's why you like the A Perfect Circle version.
The A Perfect Circle version is best because it like acknowledges that it is creepy as fuck and just goes for it. Don't try and like mix your messages. Nah, creepy as fuck. Watch our internet! I know actually what I'm talking about today. I'm ready for it. Ready for it. Also, I'm wearing arm-warmers because I'm 90s and you can't stop me. You just can't. But anyway, my topic is dreams. Just because mine are sort of vaguely unusual, I can remember my dreams, which is quite unusual. I mean, they're not all of them, but I remember a lot of them, and I sort of tend to tell them to other people, and other people go like, "You're crazy, fucking weird." And I mean, I can lucid dream a little bit, not hugely, and I don't do it sort of like on purpose a lot of the time, but I can sometimes control my dreams, especially if I've woken up a bit and gone back to sleep. I've done that occasionally with nightmares, where you like jerk awake in the nightmare, but then you sort of, I go immediately back to sleep, but because I know I'm in a nightmare, I can alter it, and so it just becomes a weird dream rather than a fucking dream. Like the one where I was in some sort of manor house and zombies were attacking it. I was on some sort of like college away day or something, because there was just a pile of people in this manor house, and then zombies were attacking it, and I sort of woke up, went to sleep, and was like, no, I must do something about this. And so I then decided that the only way we could escape from Manor House was in a VW Beetle that was in the car park outside. So we could only escape 3 at a time with a driver to drive the Beetle back. And so I was arranging everyone in nice little orderly rows to either go in the Beetle or to be hideously eaten by the zombies coming up from the basement. Which didn't make it that much better, but did make it a little bit better. Yeah, also my dreams are in colour, because I know some people have them in black and white. Bizarre, but my dreams are always in as far as I can tell, in full colour.
What's that Iron Maiden song that's got I only dream in black and white?
I can't remember, I think my dad might have black and white dreams. Bizarre. I can, well, see, obviously, hear, taste as well. I can definitely taste in dreams. I don't know if I can smell or not, but my sense of smell is so awful in like the waking world that I wouldn't be able to tell if I could smell or not in dreams. I know I can taste because I once had a dream where I was eating something that was like licorice, and I hate licorice, so I was attempting to take it out of my mouth, and I woke up with half a pillow and my own hand in my mouth. So I mean, I'm glad my subconscious was like, no, I'm not glad my subconscious decided to eat the pillow, but I'm glad it stopped me halfway through before I like ate my own pillow and died. Yes, but so definitely, what are the other senses? Taste, smell, touch. I can touch in dreams. No, I don't often have many erotical dreams. Like, for the occasional one, I did have one where I was, this is a giant nerd dream, where I was on Babylon 5, the space station from TV series Babylon 5, and I went to Garibaldi's security office, but I took with me the 11th Doctor from BBC's Doctor Who, and we were sort of gonna have sex in Garibaldi's office. Nerd! Nerd! Nerd. Like, because I told people a lot about my dreams, because I remember them, and then I remember them better if I tell someone about them, obviously. So I do tend to tell them, and also they're weird, and you want to just like stop people and be like, I had this weird dream last night, for amusement value. My Nini and I did a thing for, well, still do a bit, but did a thing for a long while where we tried to interpret each other's dreams, either using like, you know, psychological, ooh, this is obviously what you were thinking about last night, or like dream interpretation on a more mystical level, like, ooh, birds mean your son will leave the house and giraffes will arrive. That sounds more psychological. Giraffes.
Giraffes definitely psychological.
Which is sort of amusing, and it's nice to sort of think about them and think, what was I thinking about there? You know. But oh, hello, Pebbles. You coming in? You going crazy? Oh, crazy Putzmeister. Hey. But yeah, so now people sort of know that I am a dreamer, and that I will occasionally tell you of my weird ass dreams. Because I do remember very vividly a bit where I remember vividly telling someone about the dream rather than the dream itself. But I was telling my mum and my sister about the dream I had where I was in some sort of like Crystal Maze Fort Boyard game. Except I think I was also on an alien spaceship, and I might have been playing this game for the fate of humanity or to prove that we were an intelligent species or something. But anyway, I was doing something where I had to put spheres into a pyramid shape. Fair enough. Only the spheres were hamsters. And they were just perfectly... Even the cats, like, think I'm weird. They were just perfectly spherical hamsters. They still had, like, they were furry and had little, like, arms, and you know, but they were spherical, and I was piling them. Yeah, I just remember my mum and my sister being like, "You what? What? Okay." But no, one particular dream that I would like to relate to you because it's cool as fuck. And if anyone wants to take this dream and write a book or a TV series or a live action film or an animated film or whatever, go for it. Just like let me know so that I can watch it or read it or whatever. Because this is a great dream. Anyway, the cool dream. Yes. So it started off, and my John and I were driving a cart, and it was obviously some sort of like past. You know, we were in the past somewhere because it's a little horse and cart, and it was like one of those carts that, well, if you're transporting people to, you know, execution or whatever, and like a guillotine. So it was one of those, and there was a pile of people in the back, and we were driving through, and we stopped at this. Now, my brain was like, this is a sort of Viking dream, we're in some Viking place, but the hut was very sort of Mongolian, like it was a big round tenty thing, but inside it was very Viking with like fires and people sort of lay about on benches. But anyway, John and I went in, and for some reason or other he was a sort of wizard king. I mean, he is a wizard king in his way, but... and I was being his squire, and in no surprise to me at all, I was sort of dressed as a boy, or, you know, dressed as a squire, and so there was assumptions made that I was a boy, but whatever. But we went into this big tent thing, and then there was a Viking chief there, or a lord, or whatever, or a king, and we were gonna like say, "Hi, can we stay with you for the night and stuff?" And his advisor was in front of him like, "Hey, yeah, the king is not available right now." And the king just sort of fell off his chair because he was hideously drunk, and we're like, "Hey guys, come stay in my Viking tent." Which was nice. But I was sort of being like, "This, my lord, is a big wizard, fucking wizardy all shit with the magic and the hoodoo. Don't mess with him." And it seemed to be okay because the Viking lord was all like, "Wait, what if we wrestled for a bit?" And I was like, "Oh no, you can't really wrestle." And he was like, "Well, no, we gotta wrestle." And so he and John wrestled a bit. And John was like, "Oh, it's a bit rubbishy wrestling." And I was like, "No, it's all right. You couldn't put your full into it, you know, because we're being nice to the king and everything." But then all of a sudden there was disturbance outside, and I knew it was from the people we had in the cart. And I also suddenly at this point knew that they were undead. Like, they were sort of like, they weren't like, ah! So they were like thinking dummies, and they were sort of getting anxious, and it was because as we walked out of the tent, something was on fire over the other side. And then I knew that we had been escaping from something. So that's why we had all our little zombie friends in the corpse cart. Corpse cart. Because we were escaping from something. And then we were like, well, we have to go and deal with this because the people the Vikings in the tent aren't ready to deal with whatever we were running away from, like being wizard kings and zombies and such like. And so, yeah, there'd been a bit where I think the Viking King Lord had wanted to do some sword stuff with John. Some sword fighting with John. And John had been like, oh, my squire holds my sword. And it was very obvious that it was my sword. But it was rocking huge. It was like some Final Fantasy business. So it seemed a reasonable sized sword for John, but like I'm a bit smaller than John, so it was like giant sword. But then when this commercial comes out, I was like, it's chill, and I just like pulled out this giant sword, which was obviously mine, and was like, Rah! And went out to sort of start saving the day. And then John was like, oh, suppose I'll follow her. And the Vikings are all like, but she's taken your sword. And he's like, it's her sword. And then he transformed into a walking great bear. And he stumbled out. And we fought against, I think they were evil zombies. Like, shit was on fire. We'd be running away from them. Oh, we got the zombies from the court car to go in the Viking tent. We arranged that they would go in there and be okay. And then that's when I woke up. But I'm assuming that John and I just like ripped shit out of the bad zombies, and we were general badasses. Then the Vikings respected us. But yeah, I definitely knew that in the dream that I was undead. Did I say that? Maybe I didn't. But I was undead. I think that's why I can wield a giant sword, because I had a super undead strength. And there was because there was some dialogue in there that I can't remember, probably because it was dream dialogue and it didn't actually make long-term joined up sense, but, you know, I got the feeling of it, and I got the feeling that John had made me, either he'd risen me? Resurrected me from the dead. Or I'd been resurrected and then gone to meet him and tell him about that, and so I think he definitely resurrected the people in the corpse cart and was like their liege. I think that's why he was a wizard king, because he kinged all the undead people. But yeah, so I'm not sure, maybe I escaped from the evil undead to warn him about this. Or not. But we were looking after our undead, like, citizens very well. Denizens?
Chums.
No, I think they were definitely they definitely felt...
Vassals?
Vassals. That's a good word. Yeah. But, which is good, because I think John is the sort of person who would, you know, raise a necromantic army of the dead, but be really respectful of them, and, you know, they wouldn't have to just go and fight random monsters. They could live their undead lives.
If they're sentient undead, yeah, sure.
Yeah, they were definitely sentient undead, because they were all a bit like, we're nervous in the cart! And it's like, it's chill, we're just like parleying with some Vikings. And then they were all like, shit's on fire outside! And we were like, come in, the Vikings are chill! I remember, because as they walked in, I was obviously wearing a lot of like squirely tunic business, and possibly one of those extra bits that came up, so you couldn't quite obviously see that I was undead, but when they came in, they were obviously like a lot greyer than I was, and like, hi! We don't eat brains! They didn't seem to eat brains. I think the other guys from across the hill might have eaten brains. But yeah, that's the sort of dream I have. Alright then, that was nice story time. Bye bye, internet. Bye bye.